I know I've already taken up too much of your time, but a couple of really cool things when we were at the Final Four. The semi-final game, we came out of the hotel rooms, and they did a deal where all four of the teams were all at the same hotel, but it was like a big atrium hotel. And you came out of the rooms, and basically all the 99 crew and a bunch of the community were all basically just hanging over the things within the hotel, and it was nuts just even going to the game. And then still to this day, been involved with soccer my whole life. The semi-final we played in was the most ridiculous game of soccer I'd ever been a part of. It was 6-4 was the final score, and it was just nuts. It was crazy. You then think when you're in something that's so emotional as that, to then try and turn around to be in a final, more often in those knockout things, the team that's in the emotional roller coaster often is the team that's got a bit of a disadvantage, 36 hours later. But, one of the guys gets smashed in the head, and he was okay. It wasn't concussed, but you see on the pictures, huge black eye, and that was Izzy, who was our fearless captain. So it's pretty fitting when you got a guy like that gets to lead the team out on championship day, raise a trophy. Not only has he got the battle scars and everything with the big black eye, but just truly an amazing young man, an amazing leader. So I'll pass you over to him. Thank you again. And 2004 and 2005, or was it 5 and 6? I can't remember. Captain of the team.
4 and 5.
4 and 5, there you go. So Brian Eisenbrown, guys, please.
Evening, everybody. I'd like to thank the scheduling tonight for letting me go after Jeremy. I think you guys would probably rather have it the other way around. I'll start with some thank yous. I want to give a thanks out to the RMAC for putting this all on, for having us. This is a beautiful event. I specifically want to thank Jacqueline. I spoke with her. Well, I didn't speak with her. I had several emails back and forth with her, and I can only imagine what it was like to get this crew here today. So thank you very much, Jacqueline. With regards to the RMAC, we also wanted to give them a thank you for, the boys were wondering how we were going to celebrate our 14th anniversary, and what better reason to do so. So thank you for that. The RMAC has a steep tradition of excellence in men's soccer. 3 national titles, 2 runners-up, and a list of Hall of Famers. That list of Hall of Famers includes Luke Cisna, Jeremy Gunn, and the 2005 Fort Lewis men's soccer team. And if you didn't catch the drift, those 3 national championships were Fort Lewis, and the 2 runners-up were Fort Lewis. I'm extremely happy to see Jeremy called out specifically today. Obviously, none of this happens without Jeremy. Jeremy's really the spark that ignited all of this, has started. I was asked yesterday by a reporter from the Durango Herald if I was surprised at the list of accomplishments on Jeremy's resume. And I thought for a second, and then I said no. And I would ask you guys the same thing. Would you be surprised coming out of the 2005 season to hear that Jeremy was going to go on to do what he's done? And I don't think we would, right? We kind of knew that there was something special there all along, and that we were truly blessed to be in a program under his stewardship. So Jeremy, I feel truly blessed to call you my friend and have worked with you. And another round of applause, please, for Jeremy. So as I thought about what I was going to talk about tonight, I kind of was struggling a bit because we already did this, 4 years ago, and that was a pretty momentous moment on its own. Fortunately, the RMAC asked for some photos that I'm sorry I never got you guys. That said, my mom and my dad did put together a bunch of photos of the season, and I scrolled through each and every one of them. And I found myself not necessarily looking at all of the action, but looking at the photos of everything kind of ancillary to the game, everything around the game, all of the people in the stands, all of the celebration going on afterwards, paying specific attention to the warm-ups beforehand and all of the kind of intricacies of what we had going on there. And I quickly realized that I didn't want to really talk about anything that happened on the field, that I needed to describe what the Fort Lewis soccer family was. So I'm going to try and give you guys a picture of what Fort Lewis soccer looks like. There are 4 groups of Fort Lewis soccer family members. The first one, sorry, but you guys are a little bit older. The women in this group had this trend of wearing straw cowboy hats with blue bandanas wrapped around the brim. And they were pretty nervous a lot of the time, I could tell. The men in this group loved to pace the sidelines and shout at referees for some odd reason. Every once in a while, they were known to have a camera hanging from their neck. They all wore these white T-shirts that were printed, I believe, by Mr. Flanagan, that clearly denoted their allegiance. They sat facing the sun, and while this group was not disorderly, they certainly didn't keep to themselves. Moving on to group number 2. Group number 2 could be identified by the giant soccer jerseys they wore that were made by some outdated brand with a cat paw logo. I think Jeremy loved that brand. This group is known to arrive a bit late. I think we witnessed that a bit tonight. Loud, boisterous, and unruly. This group was always prepared and organized. And they were prepared and organized to make both opposing players lonely on the pitch and unite Guns Army or the hooligans. You think you're lucky stars that this group was on the sidelines, because had you been playing them, they probably would have beaten you. The third group is a hodgepodge of people. Some of these people took players into their home and became mothers and fathers away from home from the players. Others in this group would show up banging frying pans and wearing shark hats. Still others would adorn the field with flags and come prepared with a 30-man poncho for the inevitable Durango weather. I don't know if you guys remember when Lauren brought the big 30-man poncho. That was epic. Others in this group were a tad smaller, but looked up at the players like heroes. And of course, sometimes someone in this group would show up naked. Okay, one time. The last group has already been introduced, but they need no introduction. It's made up of a group of individuals from around the globe that came to Durango, Colorado. They know about lake trips, Chapman days, beep tests, and Coopers. This group was led by a bunch of guys with funny accents. These guys also know what it's like to beat Incarnate Word, Franklin Pierce, and Colorado School of Mines. More importantly, though, this group knows how to celebrate those victories. This one's gonna be hard, sorry guys. This group knows what it means to have a belief in one another. A belief big enough to achieve any goal. Big enough to produce perfection. Big enough to bring together the parents, alumni, community, and team to create what I call the Fort Lewis soccer family. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to the 2000 Fort Lewis soccer family. Let's go celebrate.